My fish okay? My fish
Mr. Limpets.
What kind are they?
Mr. Limpets.
Okay.
That's a movie that Don did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was a familiar
You
one.
got
Okay.
all the limpets there.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3.
And welcome back. Tonight we are on location at Harrah's Marina Hotel Casino on the Bay in Atlantic City. This rather comfortable set, this little living room here, happens to be the set for Neil Simon's comedy Last of the Red Hot Lovers. And joining me now are two of the stars of Last of the Red Hot Lovers, Don Knotts and Barbara Eden. Good to see you both.
Nice to see you.
Something I've been curious about, when they announced that they were bringing the show in here and they were bringing you two in, I was wondering, was there a problem when you first took the role about having audiences perceive you as something other than two of the most beloved characters in episodic television?
Well, thanks for saying that. No, it didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
You don't feel you have to break a stereotype then?
Not really. People seem to accept whatever we do here.
Barbara, what about you? You played Jeannie, the genie in the bottle. I think it was, what, 4 years the show ran? It seems, though, like it was it 5 years?
Yeah.
A lot longer, because it's constantly, I don't think it's ever been off, has it?
No, it hasn't. All over the world. It's still on. I don't think actors think of stereotype as much as other people do.
Mm-hmm. Like
We
inquisitive
just work,
reporters,
you know?
right?
We just work. You say, you want to do this job? Yeah, we'll do it. We don't care what we look like or think, or we're not thinking that way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
No,
No,
no, I don't.
We don't think about the effect of it. We think more of what the fun it is to do the job.
All right, well, let's talk about the fun of doing the job that both got you into the position, but you could do something like this, and that was your characters on situation comedies, the Andy Griffith Show. That was the proverbial big break for you, wasn't it, Don?
Yes, it really was. I had gotten a break prior to that on the Steve Allen Show, which I did for 4 years, but the Andy Griffith Show and the character of Barney Fife was the thing that really made it for me big.
And 5 Emmy Awards, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's right, yeah.
Was there ever a time in the years that you played that character that you thought, boy, I'm going to be in trouble later on because people are only going to see me as Barney Fife? Or was that just not a consideration?
Well, again, I didn't think of it that way. When I left the Andy Griffith Show to do pictures for Universal, it didn't occur to me that Barney would follow me. Actually, I think, though, most of the characters I played in those pictures were very close to Barney, I must admit.
I was about to ask that. Even in Last of the Red Hot Lovers, the character you play's name is Barney, and there were some flashes when I saw the show on opening night. I could see a little take here and there, or something in your voice that would remind me of Barney Fife. Is that something you're comfortable with?
Oh, sure. As a matter of fact, when you get those flashes, I think you're going to get that from any actor. Part of it is me.
Right. Barbara, what about you? I didn't see any of Jeannie in the. You played 2 characters in Last of the Red Hot Lovers, Jeanette and Elaine. And briefly, the story is about a gentleman, played by Don Knotts, who is very happily and hopelessly married, yet feels his life really won't be complete until he's had an affair. Is that pretty much sums it up?
Absolutely, yeah.
You bring home, or not home, you bring to your mother's apartment 3 women, 2 of whom were played by Barbara. And the 2 characters you play, Barbara, are total opposites. How do you make that switch? I mean, the first one is something close to an nymphomaniac, and the second one couldn't be anything, more further removed. How do you make that switch?
Well, it's my job.
Okay.
It's to do that.
Okay.
It's very easy when you're doing Neil Simon. Mm-hmm. He's written the character. And if you do it the way he wants it played, it's there. That's all. You couldn't possibly play this like Jeannie.
No.
She's a whole different bag of whatever.
Do
Candy.
you ever get the temptation once in a while just to get a laugh out of the audience, just to turn and break down the fourth wall and fold your arms across your chest and do the Jeannie blink?
No, I haven't. I've never
done
felt like that.
She's never done it?
I haven't seen it, no. But I must say this, Barbara, looks and behaves so different in those two characters. Even I have a hard time believing it's the same woman.
Now, you've done this on tour now for 8 weeks. What was it like the first night for you when she came out in front of an audience as the second character? Did you see Elaine when she came out as Jeanette?
No, no, she makes a wonderful transition. I mean, it's two characters just so different. Again, it's hard for me to believe it's the same woman doing it.
You've both had extensive experience in different areas of the business. Barbara, you were here in Atlantic City a few years ago to sing at the Showboat. But Don, this is your first time in Atlantic City. You don't do stand-up comedy, do you?
No, I started out doing it, but I really didn't want to be a stand-up comic. I was interested in becoming an actor from the very beginning, but I couldn't get a job, so I did stand-up.
Would you ever think of going back to it, just as a lark, as a joke?
As a joke, very good. No, I don't enjoy doing stand-up. I get lonesome out there.
Yeah, well, I forget which comic once, I think it was Shecky Green or Don Rickles once said that the worst feeling in the world is when you tell a joke and it dies. and you're convinced it's the funniest thing you've ever heard, and you tell it and there's silence out there. You can't turn around and cue the band to go into the next song, and you're out there on your own.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. I've had that experience.
Well, as a stand-up.
Yeah, yeah.
I would think that would swear anybody off.
He's had it often. I'll tell you, I don't think he's had it often.
I did. When I first started, when I first went to New York, they were trying to revive vaudeville, and I went out in the boroughs and did my act. Came into New York City, and tried it out on 14th Street at the Jefferson Theater, and all the agents come. And I thought I was ready, but nobody laughed the whole act. And that was pretty much the end of my stand-up career.
That's a terrible audience, though, don't you think?
Oh,
Professionals and agents,
yeah.
they're really bad.
Oh, the audience was just the business.
Not just, but there were a lot of them out there. Yeah. And I went in to see my agent afterwards, and he said, "I think you better get some new stuff."
And you said, "I think I better find a new line of work."
Right.
Well, you're a ventriloquist.
Yeah, that was.
Did you ever do your stand-up using the ventriloquist?
I'm going to let Barbara take over. This is a good one.
You know?
Really? No, you started out as a ventriloquist, right? As a kid.
As a kid, yeah. But I wasn't really very good at that either.
Oh,
I kept
Don.
trying this and that. I tried magic, and my brothers used to say, "Why don't you do that disappearing trick?"
Making yourself disappear.
Right.
See, every once in a while, I'll catch on to it real quick. So, when was the last time? Do you still do any ventriloquism at all? I mean, you ever make suitcases talk or something and confuse the bellhop?
He's really Jeanette in the third act. That's what he's saying.
I was wondering how that voice was so different.
Yeah. No, I haven't done it in years. I haven't, but it was good to get me started. I stole all my material from Edgar Bergen, of course.
Now, you grew up in Morgantown, West Virginia, right?
That's right.
And from childhood on, you always wanted to be in the business, correct?
Yes, I did. Wanted to be an actor far back as I can remember.
What was it about the business that intrigued you so much?
You know, I don't really know. I know my mother was a big movie and radio fan. She used to take me to the movies, like starting when I was maybe 5 years old. I hate to date myself. I think I saw one of the first sound pictures ever made.
Now you're dating yourself. Barbara, what about you? You came to the business pretty much the same way you started out young, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But actually, I always wanted to sing.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa sang, my mother sang around the house, you know. My grandpa was one of the first small singers with the San Francisco Opera Company. So I started singing in church, and it sort of evolved. I got a scholarship at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. And then my mother one day said, "Barbara, you know, the tones are beautiful. The song is glorious. You don't mean a word you're singing." She said, "You'd better get off the music and start studying a little turtle at the Laguna Playhouse." And a director came to see the play because he was there.
So and then you ended up on television with. What did you think of that role when they first said, "Okay, you're going to play a very sexy Jeannie who's been in a bottle for thousands of years, and you're recovered by an astronaut"? That's how it went. Larry Hagman played
yes,
an astronaut who discovered you on a deserted
I
island.
thought it was a yummy part. I mean, my gosh, how many people get a part like that where they can have so much fun? really. And working with Larry was wonderful. He is so talented, and his timing is so good. As Don can tell you, that's so important to work with people who have comedy timing. And Larry and Bill Daly both had that, so that I was just, you know, in cream. I loved it.
Were there a lot of parameters to the character, or were you able to kind of define them as you went along, or make it up as you went along?
Well, it was, I don't know if we made it up as we went along. It did take a year to really mold that relationship, you know, with the master and the friend. And no one saw me at the beginning, you know, only Larry. It took us a year, I think, to really to mold the character.
Amazing. Now, Don, with you, you and Andy Griffith had a magical chemistry. Was that natural? Was that there from the start, or was that something you had to work on?
It was pretty much there from the beginning. Andy and I became acquainted in the run of a play on Broadway, No Time for Sergeants. And he was a star. I had a small part. And we began to become friends, and I think we realized from the beginning, I used to make Andy laugh backstage, and
you couldn't make the agents and the managers laugh, but you could make Andy laugh.
That's right. and he thought I was a very funny guy. Well, when we got to working together, we found that we truly did have a hand-in-glove feeling for, you know, the timing, and working together became quite easy and natural.
Something just popped into my mind. I gotta ask you this: are there any outtakes from the Andy Griffith Show that you would pay money for people never to see?
I'm sure there are, but I haven't seen them.
Do you have an outtake reel?
No, I don't. No.
Now, you and Andy have worked together in recent years on Matlock. What was that like, going back in front of the cameras with Andy?
Oh, it was just natural again. And we've remained good friends, of course. And as a matter of fact, Andy came to see this show. He flew in for the afternoon when we were in Norfolk, Virginia, and saw the show.
Right, you couldn't get him into Atlantic City. He has to go to Norfolk, right?
That's right.
We could use his money in the slot machines around here. Barbara, what about you? You did a guest star on Dallas, right?
Yes.
With Larry Hagman was the star of that show. What was that like, reuniting? That was the first time the two of you were back in front of the cameras together since I Dream of Jeannie, wasn't it?
Well, we had done a film for television together, but that was, I guess that's been at least 9 years ago. It was very strange, very strange. At least it was, the very first scene was, because Larry was across the set, and I entered, and the camera was on him as I entered, and he said, "Hey, cut, wait a minute." He says, "I've got to get my thoughts in order." He said, "This is eerie."
Was it eerie for you too?
It was very strange, yes.
Did you want to do Jeannie? I mean, was there Jeannie inside of you that wanted to come out at that moment?
Well, the part I was playing was not a very nice lady. So it wasn't, no, I didn't have that problem at all with the Jeannie thing, because I was really out to get him. And she does, you know, in that.
But Larry had a problem, though.
He had a problem when he saw me, because here I was in a little pink suit and a little blonde hair. You know, that's what he said. He said, "Here, I saw this cute little thing over there," and he thought, "I'm back on Jeannie." But the minute we started to work, it was different, because I was playing a pretty bad lady. He got the message real fast. You know.
Do you still have contact with him? Are you still friendly with Larry?
Yes, I do. But you know, it's in our business, it's very difficult to see actors. Don't you find that, Don? As friends, they're all over. We go all over the world and all over the United States, and it's. I had Dawn Wells called me here, as a matter of fact. Remember
Gilligan's Island,
yes,
right? Marianne.
Marianne, and she's going to come and visit here, and but she's moved back to L.A. I guess for about 4 years, and I haven't seen her. Can you believe that? And we were
4 years, and you haven't
seen her.
You were friendly, very friendly.
Best friends. We're still best friends. The only time we talk is on the phone. You know?
It's a strange business. It really is. You can have a very close relationship with somebody for many, many years, working with them every day, and then as soon as the series is over or the show ends, you go your separate ways. You still maintain that friendship, but you don't see each other.
You have that feeling. You still have that feeling for people, but you don't always see them. it's hard enough to see your family, you know. You seen your grandchild yet?
No.
No.
That's why, when a show closes or a movie finishes, it's always really sad because after you're close to those people for a while, that when it's over, you probably never see them again, or maybe it'll be years anyway.
And it's such an intense friendship when you're working together.
Yeah.
It's very intense.
Either you love them dearly or you can't stand them dearly, but one or the other, I would imagine. The emotions probably are very, very strong.
That's true. Yeah.
Don, the Andy Griffith Show gave rise to several spin-offs. Gomer Pyle is the first one that comes to mind, and there were several others, weren't there?
Well, I can't think offhand which Gomer Pyle, he did what was the name of that Marine show? I can't think of it.
Gomer Pyle, USMC.
Oh,
yeah, that was
right.
the one.
He also did a variety show.
Right, and you had a variety show too after that, didn't you?
Yes, I did a variety show for NBC for one season, but we didn't do so well, so it didn't last.
Even back then, you were a victim of demographics, right?
That's right.
Well, I want to thank you two for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Continued success with Last of the Red Hot Lovers here at Harrah's. And would you do me one favor?
Sure.
When I take it to the bump, would you know what I want?
You want me to do that? Okay.
Yeah, really? Would you?
Look out.
I'm sorry.
I mean, things happen when I do that.
All right. Well,
It's
we're going to
not
try
always
it.
a pleasant experience.
I'll take my chances.
Sure you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to take my chances. All right? Ready?
Sure you have the right Jeannie, not the sister.
We'll find out.
Okay.
We'll be
Get
back.
ready.
We're ready. We'll be back right after this.
You couldn't resist, could you?
I couldn't. It just popped into my head.